Okay, y'all. So the canceled podcast with Tana Mongeau and Brooke Schofield is officially over, which when I saw this news, I was sitting over here like, I am so confused right now. Because if you guys don't recall, I was like, wait, don't you guys like remember Tana saying that she was literally going to break contract to end this? This is where everybody was like speculating of like, oh, there's definitely some beef between Brooke and Tana. And I had said this. You know what's crazy? I filmed this actually at my brother's apartment. If you guys don't recall, I was like, I'm so sorry, y'all. There is no way that I am going to want to break contract with, the company that's like managing them or managing the podcast or whatever the case is. I'm not going to break contract just to stop doing a podcast with my friend if there's no beef. If I had beef, then obviously, yeah, I'd be like, I'm not trying to be around this person. Absolutely not. Like, I can't do it. So whatever, if I have to pay, then I have to pay whatever I'm going to do to obviously, make it end. And that's where everybody was speculating at first, like, oh, they definitely have beef. And then I'm so confused because that was like I was at my brother's apartment for a month in June, y'all. So I filmed that in June, and here we are in October now. And I'm like, okay, so now it's officially come to an end. I am so lost. I thought the last episode had already went down. You guys remember I did used to watch the canceled podcast. However, I don't know, like, okay, I'm gonna sound so damn messy right now, but I used to like it more when it was more messy, like when they would spill more tea. And good for them, primarily Tana. Good for Tana, like growing up and like not being so messy anymore and like, spilling the tea about everybody, but also at the same time too, that's what I really enjoyed. So as soon as I started seeing it become a little bit more of just like story times that were like not messy story times and not like, I don't know, like party story times and talking about this influencer or that influencer, I low-key kind of like stopped watching. And then also too, I've said this before, okay, and I'm not anti-Brooke or anything like that, because to be honest with you, I feel like she's just whatever, but I've always found her to be, just a little bit boring. Like I don't know, to me, Tana is like such a good storyteller and she's so hilarious and so witty. So I really enjoy watching her, but then I feel like Brooke is very like monotone, very flatline. Do you know what I mean? Which I'm not being shady whatsoever, because I do want to keep it real with you guys, okay? Because oh my gosh, I've seen so many people talk about this. Like Brooke's whole cancellation thing or whatever, of people bringing up things from her past, I'm like, I am so sorry. You guys can hate me for this. I don't care, okay? I'm always going to be that person that when tweets or if a video or something comes up from 10 years ago, from 12 years ago, 15 years ago, like however many years ago, oh my God, y'all. Like, I am so sorry. I'm a firm believer in if people have obviously changed and you're bringing up stuff from years and years and years ago and they haven't made that, same mistake or that same offensive comment or whatever the case may be in the years in between, then clearly they learned, changed, and growed. You know what I'm saying? So I always hate when people try to cancel somebody just from something that they said years ago, because I'm like, I'll be the first bitch to say, I am sure I have said something racist, homophobic, problematic. Like, I'll be the first one to say, yes, I did. Okay. Like, what the hell? You know what I mean? Obviously, it's like when you're young and you're not thinking about things and you say dumb, ignorant shit, you don't realize, oh my gosh, that's offensive. Do you know what I mean? So I'm just kind of like, I hate the fact this whole cancel culture shit. If you guys don't recall, okay, I've said this like 17,000 times up on this damn channel. That's the whole reason why I started making commentary videos. I was like, I am so tired of seeing people get canceled or called out for something that they said years ago. We have all said some offensive or something problematic or something that we regret. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm like, I am so tired of people on the internet literally acting as if they have never said anything, offensive. And you know what's so crazy, y'all? And I'll be the first bitch to say, yes, I've said that. Yes, I've said this. None of my shit is on the internet. You can't catch a video of me saying anything bad out there. But guess what? I'll still own up to it and still say, yes, I have. I have said some really offensive things out there. Like, y'all, I have a really dark sense of humor, and Lord knows I have made some very offensive jokes, okay? So it would be so hypocritical of me to get up on the internet and be like, oh my God, Brooke Schofield is so bad because of this tweet that she had said from years ago or whatever the case is. Do you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I hate when I see people get like that, because I'm like, you are fake, okay? If you are literally sitting here saying that you have never said anything offensive, you are a liar. I'm sorry. That's just my opinion. So I don't dislike Brooke because, of her cancellation or something that she said in her past. I think that she's boring. That's why I'm just kind of like, ugh, okay. Anyways, y'all, the podcast is officially over. I have to talk about this though, okay? Because within this episode right here, this was like breaking news to me, and I guess I am freaking bamboozled, okay? I am like Bozo the Clown over here, because I did not know that Tana actually had feelings for Jake Paul. And you know what's so crazy is recently I was talking about like Ash Trevino, if you guys don't recall, and her whole setting up this like fake marriage shit that she was going to go through. And I was like, oh, if you guys don't remember, like Jake Paul and Tana, like they orchestrated this whole like, fake marriage. I thought their whole relationship was a skit, okay? And on this very last episode, Tana's sitting over here saying that she was like madly in love with Jake. And I'm sitting over here like, why did I think the whole thing was fake? I was like, oh, I thought this was a skit. And then she's over here saying, no, that she really was in love with Jake, which I love Tana. But can I tell you guys something? I don't like Jake Paul. I don't. Oh my God, he's so damn annoying. Logan, I could deal with. I feel like Logan's more mature, and I feel like he, yes, okay, I'm sure people are going to bring up that he freaking went to that forest in Japan, and I'm sure people are going to bring that shit up for the rest of his life, okay? But I'm like, he was young, okay? Like, he did something ignorant. He did something stupid. Obviously, he wasn't thinking about it. But ever since then, I don't know. I feel like he's actually like, a decent person. And Jake, I'm like, oh my God, every time that I see him about to fight somebody, I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to fight him too. Like, damn, he is so annoying. I'm so sorry. So low-key, I love Tana, but I'm sitting over here like, girl, you're in love with him. I mean, hey, maybe he does have like an internet persona. Maybe he's a completely different person off of line. Maybe that's what the case is, because I do know a lot of people have found success in rage baiting or, acting a certain way, doing a, crazy thing on the internet. And we obviously end up perceiving that as their actual, persona, when in reality maybe it's just an internet persona. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so I want to go ahead and start this off by playing a clip to where she was saying in the beginning of the canceled podcast, like, she was like madly in love with Jake Paul, which I was sitting over here like, what? I was literally gagged over that. I was like, I thought that was fake. I thought the whole thing was just kind of like, hey, like, you got the same followers as me, I got the same followers as you, like, let's go ahead and act like we're together, because then bam, we're going to be, growing our fan bases. That's the way I took it. And I was like, oh, it was legit. Like, she legitimately had feelings for this man, which I'm kind of side-eyeing her, because I'm like, girl, you are better than that. Don't. Jake Paul, what? Check this out.
But when I started this podcast, I was so in love still with Jake Paul. And like, I never thought I would get over him. And like, that was always our conversations, like off camera, like and I've never talked about that, like anywhere. And I mean, and it still like gives me so much anxiety to talk about, and I don't know why, because I don't think I've ever like admitted it on camera, like how madly, and I like literally my heart's racing out of my chest even like saying it right now, because I just keep it like so close to me, and I want to like go into detail about that in the book. But it is weird, like I've never said that, but like you and I talked about it off camera every day for years. Like I was so heartbroken and thought he was the love of my life, and like, you know what I mean, just like now thinking back that like that was where I was at.
So there y'all saw from right there that she was so heartbroken and really in love with Jake Paul, which she said that she was going to go in more depth in the book, which, y'all, I'm curious to know if her book is going to be messy, because I am so sorry, y'all, okay? This is just my opinion, okay? It's just my opinion. I think you do have to slightly be a little bit messy to like write a book, because to get people to want to engage in the book, to be able to get people to want to go to the next chapter and keep on reading, you gotta be enticing. You have to be, a little bit messy. As soon as you like, read, say for example, something from chapter 3 and like, oh, Jake Paul did this, you're like, oh, I gotta know what happened next. Let me go to the next chapter. Like low-key, you do kind of gotta be a little bit messy when you are writing like a autobiography style book. Do you know what I'm saying? Obviously, when you're writing a fictional book, you could write about whatever and people will, be intrigued in that. But when I feel like when it comes down to an actual person, you know what I'm saying? I feel like you do got to be a little bit messy. If you guys don't recall, like even with Catherine, Austin McBroom's ex, like obviously pieces of her book ended up coming out. And as soon as something came out about Austin cheating, bam, everybody wanted to read it, because they were like, oh my gosh, we got to know this messiness. So I'm like low key wondering if she is going to be messy in the book. And the reason why I'm saying that is because obviously she had said now that she is so different from the canceled podcast, that it started off about like being, messy and outing people's business and calling people out and throwing people under the bus and like speaking out about, this person and that person, which I'm like, I kind of have a feeling that her book's going to be like that too. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, I am intrigued for that. I do have to say overall, I don't know why I found this to be a little bit sad that it was ending, because I'm like, oh my gosh, like they had a very successful podcast. Anyways, I do want to go ahead and play this next clip right here, y'all, because a lot of people had a lot of things to say about this. This is actually, at the time of me filming this video, this is the top liked clip from the oh my gosh, let me say that again. This is the top liked clip from the canceled podcast. Like it has like over 2 million views right now and like 175,000 likes on it. And y'all, a lot of people had a comment to make about this clip, and y'all, I'm gonna let you guys watch it first, and then I'm going to tell you what everybody is saying about this specific clip right here, because I am so curious to know if you guys agree with it. Check it out.
What's this? 40% off of a DoorDash order? She gave me 40% off of a DoorDash. Imagine, in the end, I just gave you hella coupon. You did. You have any final thoughts? Nah. So excited for the future. And I love you so fucking much. I love you. And I love you. Except for those on the Canceled Pod subreddit. Should we do it? For the last, right? Yes, since I look so gorgeous. Thank you guys. Oh. Till the end, baby. Thank you for listening to the final episode of the Canceled Podcast.
Okay, y'all, I hope you guys left your comments down below of what you noticed about that, okay? So within that clip right there, and like I said, it's like the top liked one as of right now, so many people were sitting over here saying, why is it that Brooke is like breaking down and she's so sad, and Tana seems so moved on already? She seems like she is just kind of like, relieved, and she's like happy, and she's like giddy. I do have to say this, I did watch the majority of the podcast, and she was crying at some points, you know. However, it did look as if Brooke was a little bit more sad about this, and I guess what it is because I think Tana knows that moving forward, she has a career within anything that she chooses to do. If she wants to go out there and do makeup reviews, she could do it. If she wants to go out there and do fashion reviews, she could do it. Like, if she wants to start another podcast, she could do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many different, you know, ways for her to continue on her career path. However, the Canceled Podcast really did make a Brooke Schofield. A lot of people didn't know who she was before that, and this really made her. So a lot of people are like, oh, damn, it's crazy that Tana seems so moved on. I do want to go and play another clip, y'all, because this is where I was sitting over here like, oh, damn, like, Tana really wanted out of this podcast, which I think is so crazy because in my opinion, and I know that they're sitting over here saying that like, okay, like this is causing a wedge between them because they have different work ethics and they have different, you know, visuals of how they want the podcast to go or their tour to go or whatever. And they keep on going on with, oh, this podcast was causing the problem. But then to me, that almost makes it seem like then you guys just have a problem. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like they're trying so hard to make it not seem that way. However, a lot of people are saying like, no, Tana has been over Brooke for quite some time. But you guys are going to see within this next clip of her even saying like, she's like praying to God for this like podcast to end. I'm like, damn, it was that bad for you to continue on doing this podcast with your supposed best friend. Like, that's where I'm over here. Like, I'm not even trying to like stir the pot, but I'm just kind of like, I couldn't imagine, like, say for example, if I was over doing a podcast with my friend and I wanted to go down a different route, if I wanted to start talking about different subjects that my friend didn't want to talk about, then okay, like, you know, we're just going to go ahead and we have this contract, you know, for another 3 months and we're just going to go ahead and continue talking about whatever. And then when that 3 months is over, then bam, do you know what I'm saying? Then I'm going to go on my separate way, but I'm not going to be sitting there praying to God and being so like, I, you know, want this podcast to end right away. To me, that makes it seem like there's something behind the scenes, okay? And that's just my opinion. Check out this clip right here.
I begged God for this day. Like, were all I wanted. It's all I could think about. There was a point in my life where this was consuming me, this coming to an end because of the things that I felt like it was negatively doing during certain times, not all times. Like, there were lots of positive times, you know what I mean? But I mean, genuinely eating me alive. Like, about like, this just has to end because I hate what it's doing to us. I hate what's happening on the internet. I don't resonate with certain things anymore and whatever. And I was so convinced that on this day, and in the end, I would show up and fucking pop a bottle and a firecracker and fireworks. And I'd be like, finally. And like, what, you know what I mean? Like, that's, there were points where I was 100% sure that was what my energy was going to be today. And then today has come and I could not feel more different than that. Like, I wish I could go tell that girl like that you're not going to feel like that at all.
So there y'all see from right there. She was saying that she begged God for this day to come, meaning the end of the podcast. Of course, obviously, you know, you may want to get out of something and then when it happens, of course, it's going to be sad. And I'm sure she is sad about it because obviously she's done this for so many years. However, to like use, you know, such dramatic words like that, like I begged God for this day to come. I'm like, if I was Brooke, low-key, I'd be sitting there like, damn, like you hate doing this that much, which I get. If you guys have seen the podcast before, if you've seen them, you know, open up about it, like obviously they have said like their lives are obviously going down separate paths and like Tana's over here on this, you know, whole self-healing journey. And she started the podcast at like partying all the time, drinking all the time, doing crazy stuff all the time. And now she's like looking to settle down. A lot of people are saying like, oh, she's going to, you know, end up starting a family soon. I don't know if she's actually said that she plans on starting a family soon, but a lot of people are saying that's what she's doing. That's why she moved to Hawaii, to like basically just be more, you know, simmered down, which is totally fine. However, to specifically be using words like I begged God, I'm like, damn, like, oh my, I would like low-key take that a little bit personal, you know what I'm saying? Like if my friend was saying that, because I was like, oh my God, you hated working with me that much? Do you know what I mean? Anyway, so that is it for the Canceled Podcast. Low-key, I do think that it does suck, but I do hope that Tana moves on to something bigger and better. And I'm so curious to know about her book. Y'all, if it is on Audible, then I'll listen to it. However, I ain't gonna read that shit. Y'all know me and my ADHD. If I'm reading, no, I just can't, okay? I need to listen to it. Anyways, make sure you guys let me know your thoughts and opinions about everything. I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, Girl Scout.